We live in a category, we work in a category called home-based businesses, because there is no other category of taxpayer in America that gets more tax breaks than home-based business owners. We are the most tax-advantaged category of taxpayer there is in America. In fact, it's almost unfair to people that don't have a home-based business, but I don't feel sorry for them, because we are in one. But the thing is, we need to recognize what it is that Congress has made available to us in terms of tax deductions that most people don't know. And thanks to people like Glenn Oliver, people in this company are going to know. Because in most companies, most network marketing companies, they give lip service to tax savings. And they tell you get a lot of tax breaks when you come into the home-based business, but they don't tell you what they are, or how to qualify for them, or what records they keep. That doesn't do you any good to have that information, does it? So today we're going to be specific about it, but I want to go back first and talk about why is it Congress would pass special tax breaks for home-based business owners? Frankly, because it's good for the economy, it's good for the taxpayer. It's good for the economy because small business is the backbone of the American economy. It's been called the lifeblood of the American economy, the engine of the American economy. And so they, so Congress said if we're going to support, thank you for noticing that it was dry. Thank you, Glenn. Congress said if we could ideally get every American taxpayer to have a part-time home-based business, that they could ramp up to full-time on short notice, that would be great for the economy. It'd be a partial safety net for the American economy. If you go to work on Monday morning and find out you don't have a job because your company got downsized or right-sized or capsized, whatever what you got was unemployed, Congress said, well, how about if instead of coming home to look up the address of the unemployment office, how about if you came home and ramped up your part-time business to full-time? So you've got some momentum going, you've got some income coming in, and for most people who aren't full-time yet with their home-based business, the only thing holding them back from maximum success is time. Because they have this annoying thing called the JOB, the just over broke. So if you get rid of that, or it gets rid of you, it sets you free to spend all of your time on your home-based business. Now, Congress's plan was it would buy you some time where you find another job. But I found a lot of people never find another job because they discover once they have full-time to spend on their part-time business that they don't want another job. They want to continue working for themselves. They can make more money, have more fun, have more freedom. So Congress said our objective is to have every taxpayer have a part-time home-based business that can ramp up to full-time on short notice. Now, how do we do that was the next question. How do we motivate people to do something they're not currently doing, like work more? Well, they need to have some kind of incentive, right? What's the greatest incentive for most people? Money. You know, money is the great motivator for most of us. And how many of you have a W-2 job? Would you do that, go to that W-2 job on the same frequency, the same hours, same day, and let somebody tell you when to go to the bathroom, if money wasn't a motivator? If they took away your salary, would you still do that? Most people would have to say no. So, you know, money's a good motivator. It's not the most important thing in the world, but it ranks up there a lot. So they said, you know, if we could pay people, that would be a motivator. So we'll pay people to get into a home-based business. Well, how do we pay them? What's the easiest way for Washington to put more money in your pocket? To take less money out of your pocket, right? It's not doing something goofy like economic stimulus checks. You get half of that gets eaten up in administration. They take less money out of your pocket, you got more money in your pocket. So that was the solution. They said, we'll provide significant tax deductions for people who run a home-based business. Now, what are the requirements? The requirements they set were very simple. There are only 3 requirements in order to qualify for what became a whole array of tax deductions available to us. The first one is to run your business on a regular and consistent basis. Well, that's been defined by the tax courts as little as 3 to 4 hours a week. As little as, 3 to 4 hours a week, on a regular and consistent basis. Why would that be? Remember, the objective was for you to have a part-time business you can ramp up to full-time on short notice. Well, if you stop working this business for a couple of months, you go into a witness protection program, and then you lose your job, what do? You don't have a business you can ramp up to full-time. You got to call your upline and say, when are the training calls now? Is the comp plan changed? Any new product? What do I need to know? So Congress said, no, we're going to pay you to run a home-based business. Then we want you to at least do your part by keeping keeping a pot stirred. So the first requirement is run your business at least 3 to 4 hours a week. Now, in ruling on that, the judge said, he was ruling on a case where the taxpayer said she worked her business an average of 45 minutes a day, 4 to 5 days a week. The judge said, clearly that is unlikely to be enough to set yourself financially free, but that's not my role as a judge. My role as a judge is to determine whether or not the time you're spending on your business meets the intent of Congress, the intent of the law. He said, I find that you do. So we now know that the little 3 hours a week will satisfy the legal requirement. The second requirement is even easier. Have a profit intent. Just the intent to produce a profit. The intent to produce a profit. You don't even need to produce a profit before qualifying for tax breaks. And the third one is to keep decent records. Because whether there's in this country, there's a law that says you don't qualify for any deductions until you prove you do. So it's kind of the opposite of the American legal system, where we're innocent until proven guilty. Well, when it comes to tax deductions, we don't qualify unless we prove we can. We do. So we got to keep decent records. Unfortunately, in a little while, you're going to hear about a way you can keep those records in as little as 3, 4, 5 minutes a day, minimum, maximum. So it's not difficult to meet any of those requirements, right? 3 hours a week with a profit intent to keep decent records. So it's not difficult. So that's all that we need to do in order to qualify for the tax breaks. Congress then asked one last question, that's how big do the tax breaks need to be? How much do we need to provide to incentivize workers to have a home-based business? Just keep my eye on time. The answer was, how about if we give them enough tax deductions? You know, tax deductions turn into tax refunds, right? So let's say $4,000 worth of tax deductions. If you're a 25% tax bracket, where most Americans are, then that turns into a $1,000 tax refund. So Congress said, let's give enough tax deductions that the tax refunds are enough to cover the cost of running almost any home-based business. That means Congress has made a decision that Uncle Sam is going to pay to run this business for you. You're going to pay your operating costs. That works out to be around $4,000 to $5,000 a year for most people. But then they did one thing that was really brilliant, and I don't usually use brilliant and Congress in the same sentence. But in this case, Congress did something brilliant. They said that we can't make people wait for this new additional refund until the end of the year. See, for the most part, we get our tax refund in April, right? We file our tax return. Right. And a refund, by the way, this is an aside, is not because Uncle Sam gets religion in April. It's because they found a way to methodically get us to over-withhold our taxes and they give us back the extra amount we had withheld in April without any interest or thank you note. So that's not necessarily a good thing that we get back a refund. It means they held back too much of our money all year long. But now you're going to get an additional refund. So let's say your refund last year was $3,000. This year it could be $8,000, another $5,000 for a home-based business. But Congress said we can't make people wait until April 15th because the whole objective of this is to incentivize people to start and run a home-based business throughout the year. If we make people wait until April, you can't get into a business in September or October, right? Because you got to wait until the money starts coming in. But then April rolls around, you don't get any extra refund because you haven't had a business. Well, what do we do? The answer was they passed legislation that said that any taxpayer can change the amount of money being withheld from their paycheck for taxes anytime they have a tax-changing circumstance. A tax-changing circumstance would be something like getting married or buying a house or having children. That changes the amount of money you're paying in taxes, right? Another tax-changing circumstance could be going to a meeting on a Saturday morning in Phoenix and finding out you're going to be paying a lot less in taxes than you used to. So anytime you have a tax-changing circumstance occur in your life, you now have a legal right to go to your payroll office, your HR department, and arrange to have less money withheld from your paycheck for taxes. Part 2 of this legislation was your employer is required to let you do that. They don't get a vote. And part 3, my favorite part, is they have to implement it as of within 30 days, preferably as of next payday. If you go to your payroll office Monday morning and change it's called a Form W-4, you change that W-4 to have less money withheld from your paycheck for taxes, you'll have, that'll increase your tax refund, which puts more money in your take-home pay, right? If they take out, let's say, an average of $100, it works out to be an average of about $100 a week, less they're taking out of your paycheck for taxes. So if they take $100 less out of your paycheck for taxes, where's that $100 going to go? Your take-home pay. Right? Now I got to ask you, is $100 a week enough money to run this business? Of course, there's more than enough money to run this business. That means what we